Well, we're a little slow getting going today, old Ames and I.
It was not my fault. Oh, I thought you were going to blame me.
Whoa, I didn't blame you. Look at Amy over here. Amy's doing some work. She's got my immune Bayou hat on. Got a little mismatch going on there. That's okay.
I wanted to wear that hat. You wouldn't let me.
This is my Ohio hat.
You have a hat that matches that shirt.
I do actually have a hat that matches this shirt. And there's a police officer right there. And I was speeding a little bit. Thankfully, he is writing up a ticket for someone else. So we're going to slow down now. Good fortune right there. Okay, we're all locked into cruise control. No more mishaps. On our way to Lexington, Kentucky. We stayed overnight last night in Dayton. A great night in Dayton last night. Man, oh man, how good was Purple Aurora? You know, and I said this this isn't my first video today. I made a shorter video because we were on our way to Starbucks. But then it turned into a longer video. Last night was incredible. This filly, you know, I said this about the Ohio program, is that the ability to race the horses in those fair races, one, keep them tight without training them hard, and two, more importantly, being able to race them in, I called it diminished competition a little bit. Some of the fairs are a little easier on some of the horses. I don't think Purple Aurora was beaten all year at the fairs, if I'm not mistaken. 1-2 Skip a few had a great fair year, also great year overall, also, and still going. So the ability to get them a win. A win is a big deal for you. It's a big deal for me. It's a big deal for the horse also. You put a horse in the winner's circle and a lot of them will come back to life pretty quickly. And the ability to race them in between those stake races, those staking engagements in races that they can do well in, bodes very well for their confidence, right? For their morale. And as you can see, their physical prowess. A track record last night for Purple Aurora, you know, got stretched over the quarter, 28-1, got a little breather in the second quarter, and then had somebody run at me pretty hard, 27-4 down the backstretch. I thought that, you know, we were going to get beaten for sure. I thought we were going to just have to settle for what we settled for. If it was a first, second, third, fourth, whatever, she raced great. And coming out of the turn, she dug on and won. This horse had dug in and won. And I know everybody loves Purple Aurora, but Purple Aurora has never been known as a killer in the parimutuel races, right? The night she got beat, she was beat fair and square. You know, you'd never want to come first over with her and grind them into the ground. She was never that tight, right? She was going to get you what she could get you, and that was that. And I respect that. There's nothing wrong with that. But last night, she went to the well in a big way. She could have easily been second or even third. You'd be like, she raced pretty good. That third quarter really chewed her up. But she dug in to win, and you know, I will give most of the credit for that, you know, that killer instinct she somehow found to being able to race at those little fair tracks all season. So that's my take on what took place last night. Just an incredible mile from a filly who's come from a questionable beginning. We all knew she had talent and speed, but how she would put it all together, how that would look throughout the summer, no one knew. Everybody would say, oh, I knew, or I could tell. You couldn't. You might have dreamed and thought you could tell. No one knew. I didn't know. You didn't know. At this point, it was out of our hands and was just, you know, a Jesus take the wheel type thing. We were just hoping she'd race good, and she raced fantastic all summer. So very proud of her, what she did last night. The way she did it was impressive. So a great night for our groups last night. 1-2 Skip a few, race great. What about a Glara AM, Amy McDonald? What about a Glara AM? You know, here's a filly we took over here. She just didn't get around the meadows good. She didn't get around the 5/8 great. She will, I think, as a 4-year-old, but she didn't at 3. And certainly couldn't get around Northfield great. I trained her in 58 there, but it was holding her together. You know, James, she's a horse. James and her are going to get along real well, but I think it's going to be a while before she's outmatched we talk about reaching those ceilings, reaching that saturation point where you run out of classes. Sky's the limit for this filly. There's no classes right now I can see. You know, you're not talking, she can make $140,000 before she gets up anywhere near the preferreds in Mohawk. So, you know, the skies are blue and clear, and the sailing is great, straightforward for Glara AM. This filly is going to do a lot in a short period of time. James drives her great. She raced incredible last night. She's matured also. You can never put her on the front. James put her on the front last week. You can never, when you moved her, you know, she would just come 100. Now you can move her in a number of ways. James moved her, and she did that last night. But then when she got to the front, like a lot of horses, she'd just get a little green and kind of lollygag and just do her work. Now, step on their throat and stay there until there's no more movement. That is her mentality. She has turned into a merciless fighter, and I love everything about a Glara AM. I think this filly could be the next horse for us. She is going to be an incredible 4-year-old, and I just can't say enough about her. She's not as big and tall as a Globetrotting, and we'll talk about her in a minute, but she's like a little bulldog. Yeah, she is big. She's never going to be as big as Globetrotting, but she's turned into this little bulldog, and she loves beating horses up, and I love it. I love everything about a Glara AM, and I'm so proud of the job that Teresa has done and James has done managing this filly. I know James was a little angry in the middle of the summer that she didn't come together the way that we had planned. James had told me, and I told you guys way back when, he thought this was a Grand Circuit type filly, and you always look for someone to blame. I do, you do, James does, when things don't come together, but I think it was just bad timing for a Glara AM. She didn't get around the half. She hit up on her left hind and put a bump on it in the middle.
It's gone.
Yeah, but it'll always be a little rough there.
Yeah, but like, remember how big it was?
You could never get it down because she hits it.
It's like literally gone.
Yeah, well, that's great. That's great. I think this filly's going to be an absolute killer for us at 4. Just so excited, happy, and proud of the work everybody's done with her. She is absolutely great. We talked about Purple. We talked about a Glara AM, and then 3-Point Blue Chip. Old Amy's going to head to Old Amy's going to head to New Jersey with Jason and 3-Point Blue Chip. It's a great opportunity for Jason to get his name out there, and you know, Jason's done well on both sides of the border, and obviously Jason isn't in Canada all the time when Jason's racing in Canada. So Cindy Acton has done a fantastic job with Jason's Barn, and I'm sure Lauren Harmon will do a great job with Jason's Barn in Ohio when he's not present there in the winter. So Jason has done, has surrounded himself with the right people, but has done a great job also, and I'm going to stay home at least for the elimination of the Breeders' Crown for 3-Point. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but and 3-Point, I believe, will qualify good. I believe he'll race great in his prep race up to the Breeders' Crown, and then we'll race him there. He's coming in fresh. It's not just the Breeders' Crown. He's a Valley Victory after that. So, a lot to do, a lot going on. And I think, don't quote me, but I believe it's hopefully Breeders' Crown elimination, Breeders' Crown final. The last leg of the kindergarten, he is eligible to. Now, he's not going to make the final, but it's a $20,000 race for him, leading up to the Valley Victory. So there is a great path forward for 3-Point Blue Chip. And again, I have to give credit where credit is due. My wife did a great job with 3-Point Blue Chip all year in Ohio. Amy had 3-Point Blue Chip in her care all summer long in Ohio at Jason's Barn in Ohio. He's just turned into the horse we hope so. Well, without him, we certainly wouldn't have a full list of people signing up to buy into the expensive horse that we're looking at. Now, you guys are excited now. I'm excited too. We have a ton of videos to bring to you today. Now, it's cloudy here. There's a chance of rain in Lexington. We might only look at 5 or 10 if it's pouring rain somewhere, but we will look at some horses today, and I will bring them to you. 2 lists. I'm going to bring the list of horses we're potentially looking at for that. I don't know if I like that premium.
Oh my God, will you stop? Just get over it.
I don't know.
Come up with a different word.
I'm too lazy. I'll let you do it. It's a good job. Anyway, Kelly likes it. I'm going to leave it like that. It's Kelly's thing. She named it. It doesn't matter. The beauty of having these whole shares in these partnerships is that after the partnerships are full and we get the horses, they just dissolve. they're your shares. There doesn't need to be a group or anything like that. It's just your shares. So this might be the heading, but it's just for now. It's full. The premium partnership, I call it project, premium partnership project, is full. I like it. It's a PPP. Okay. It's full right now, which is incredible. I was wrong. I'd sent a note saying there was only 6 lots left of the $200,000 partnership. There's quite a few left already. Still, and I know there's a lot of people out there just waiting to see videos of what we're going to get, what I'm looking at. But it is worth noting that I believe all 75 lots will fill up and sell out long before Lexington is over. And those people, again, I think you have a day or two, they'll soak up all the shares. So I understand a lot of people. I hope everybody understands now that I was right and you were wrong. A lot of people were worried about being gouged and there won't be any shares left for anybody from Ohio. And then what happened? Exactly what I said would happen. People put their shares up at fair market value. Sure, some people wanted to make a profit, but if they didn't sell their shares, they would have to drop the price on them. That's how a market, an open market system works. And everybody, I had notes from everybody saying, thank you, Anthony. I got the shares I wanted in my Ohio horses when they were unlocked. It worked out great. I'm very happy. I'm glad that it worked out well for you, because it did. Ultimately, you guys were helping me, right? The people out there that bought all those private shares up and then sold them, or the shares in the partnerships and sold them, you helped me out. I didn't have to carry those costs. So I appreciate it. Thank you very much. And I'm glad it worked out for everybody that wanted shares. And if there's people out there that want shares of horses and you can't find them, I know who has them. And if they want to sell them, send me an email, send me a message, say, hey, Anthony, I am looking for a share of this horse. And this is what I'm looking to pay. Aside from the open market, I can reach out to a couple of people and say, hey, John, Tim, Tammy, Jill are looking for a share of this horse. I noticed that you had a few, would this price interest you? I can help out too. That's what I'm here for. I want to make sure that everybody is happy when sales season is done, because we've had a great year and we all should be happy. Everybody at thestable.ca should be happy. And if you had a horse that maybe didn't race this year or didn't race great this year, there's better days ahead. We'll have other horses, and that particular horse we're talking about, hopefully that horse comes along also. So, I'm here. I'm here to help. Don't hesitate to reach out to me. Yes, I'm busy. Everybody says, I know you're busy, but yes, I'm busy. But I don't mind being busy. And if me being busy means that you get what you want, then I should remain busy. And that's exactly how I feel. So we are on our way, as I said, to the Lexington Select Sale. We are going to get some yearling videos for you today. We're going to sell out those three partnerships. We already sold out the expensive horse, which I was a little surprised at, but very happy with. And we will sell out those other partnerships. So thank you all again for the people that helped out in Ohio. I'm glad that it worked out good for everybody. I'm glad that everybody got to move their shares along. The people that didn't want the trotting fillies or the trotting colts or the little pacer, they got to move their shares around. I'm super happy that worked out for everybody. What else do we got? Our girl Skippy was good yesterday. It was so heartbreaking knowing that I had to win to make the final and getting beat a neck, and then finding out that kid that won the race has only raced twice in his life and he won both of them. The last week when Billy made a break, he won, and then he beat me yesterday. Got a good set of hands on him, that little fella. I don't know his name. I shouldn't say he's a kid. I think he's a younger gentleman. But drove that filly good. Drove her very, very good. He could have panicked and kicked out the earplugs and gassed her down the backstretch. He was smart, and I just let Skippy hang out there, and she tried as hard as she could. That was a big mile for her. She raced great. We may be able to sneak and claw our way into the final yet. Just relax. Some of it will depend on a horse racing today at Dayton and the fairs. Mathematically, we can't get any closer than first also eligible, but there may be a horse that doesn't enter. Who knows? We'll see. What else is going on? High Gear, No Fear, and yes, race tomorrow. This will be our official first start with High Gear, No Fear. Now, we bought two horses. One of them was claimed the other day on us. We only had him one start. In hindsight, maybe we got caught stealing a little bit with him. I didn't think anybody would claim him out of that class. We beat them up pretty good, and lo and behold, clever old horseman Merv Chupp scooped him off us. So good luck to the horse. Good luck to Merv with the horse. I guess it would be unfair for me to say I wish we had him back. And clearly he's a pretty talented little horse, but we did good. We made some money with him, and it's just the way horse racing goes. The second horse in that partnership that we bought, High Gear No Fear and Donato Patriot K. High Gear No Fear races tomorrow. He's picked to win. I did threaten harm to Ronnie Grant if he didn't win with him. I know Ronnie. He's a pretty cool guy. And I spoke to him yesterday. I said, look, you train good. I trained him myself. What day is today? Sunday. I trained him myself Thursday morning. I thought the horse raced great. Or trained great. I liked everything about him. He is 9 to 5, picked to win in the backup class. So between him and Yes, our worst case scenario right now, if they don't get hurt, if they stay good, is that we'll have 2 horses for the Open. So either one can either race there, bounce around if we can juggle them in classes, or if we have to, we can move one of them somewhere. But it looks like Jason's going to have a pretty powerful top end of the trotting spectrum here very soon. His High Gear No Fear looks like he's going to do some damage tomorrow. Now, he does have flip-flops on, and it is supposed to rain all day. Not a real great mix for us at Northfield, but we're not changing the shoes for the mud on this guy. I don't know him well enough to just say we're going to do this or we're going to do that. He has aluminums and flip-flops on and a little set of bell boots. He didn't look like he was going to get to his elbow when I trained him the other day. He's very close. As close as Tiger was when he didn't wear them, and as close as Tiger is now that he does. So if he ends up with elbow boots on, fine, but he's not going to wear them tomorrow. For any of you that are wondering what the horses will do, it's the most beautiful gaits are the ones that do it. They'll land and then they curl their foot up, and actually this part of their foot actually comes up and hits their elbow, and it'll draw blood sometimes. And High Gear No Fear, we did change his shoe from a steel to an aluminum shoe. That might be enough to keep him out of his elbow. I hope it is. We'll see. If it's not, we can tinker. Worst case scenario, Tiger went in 54 with elbow boots on and has worn them for almost a year. High Gear No Fear can wear them also if he has to, but I believe this might be enough to keep it out of him. For those of you out there saying to yourself, why wouldn't you just put the elbow boots on anyway? Well, for the same reason you don't walk around with steel toe boots on every day and goalie pads. We don't like to use equipment we don't need, and anything extra might be cumbersome, so to speak. No, a beautiful gaited horse. Big, giant, good-looking horse. Now, Scotty told me he thought that they wore a mini bit or a snake cord on him. I told Ronnie, I said, I trained him without it. He seemed fine. He goes, I'm sure he'll be fine. I said, yeah, I'm sure he'll be fine. I know where you're going with him, so it's not like he's going to take it back. So High Gear No Fear races tomorrow, and as I said, pretty bummed out. I was a little bummed out. Yeah, I guess I was torn, right? After the race, when it was announced he was claimed, Donato Patriot K, immediately I went, well, that's a $13,000 profit for us, U.S. money in 1 week. That's pretty good. But did we lose him for a little less than we should have? If he wins in 55 and I put him on gate for 35, we might have only got 28 anyway. And we wouldn't have had to sell him. We could have kept racing him. Now, he's the type of horse where I floated him over to the front, and at that point, he grabbed a hold of me. But he wasn't near as grabby getting to the front. What I mean is, he can't leave very fast at all. It took me all the way to the quarter pole to get him to the front. I don't know if it's going to be, and I don't think he's the type of horse to come first over winning 55. So I don't think you're going to see him look as fantastic in the future. But at the same time, if he can do up in the numbers 3, numbers 4, the same night the numbers 4 went in 57, so it's unrealistic to think he can't do up in there. So maybe we left some money on the table there with Donato Patriot K, but that's racing. I don't have a crystal ball. I don't have a Ouija board. I don't know what they're going to do until they've done it. This is horse racing.
Sorry, did you not stay in Scioto overnight recently?
Yep, I stayed in Scioto when I went to the sale in Circleville. I stayed at that Brewdog Hotel. You Google Brewdog, you'll get it. But I stayed at Scioto Downs the night before. And then what else do we have? Last night we also raced So and Sue and My Jazz. So and Sue, you guys, I told you guys before, it's going to be baby steps with our girl Sue. Amy said, gee, she's crazy. She's not crazy. She was hot her whole life, and she was probably crazy before, but she is getting so much better. I love horses like her. She's not retardedly crazy and running away and out of her mind. She can be if you let her, but if you keep her quiet, get her up to the fence and just let her jog along. She's actually a sweet little filly. She's getting better. And as I said, I had a nice email from Pat Martin today. Pat had sent me an email asking about equipment on Sue and what I thought it was, and Pat's had horses forever, so she had some recommendations also. But when it comes to Sue, there is something in her mouth that's bothering her, and we need to find it. It's either maybe a cracked tooth, maybe a cap, maybe a piece of a wolf tooth that didn't come out. It could be something going on with her actual jaw alignment, because she's been so hot and so crazy her whole life. It's not unrealistic to think that maybe there's something going on with her jaw, but I can feel it. The further we go, she just leans in, and you can see her come out of the last turn last night, shake her head, throw her head. That's because she was hooked on the right line. I was trying to drag her out from behind the horses to pass them, and she, and every time I get into her, she'd throw her head. So it's going to be a process with her, but there's a horse in there, and she wants to be a better horse. I think baby steps with Sue. Finished 5th. And I didn't realize we were 5th until the replay came up. I thought I was 6th. So she was 5th, grabbed that last bone, and actually trotted by horses down the lane. 56-4, 29-4. But I was able to take her back. She sat quietly the whole way. She's a nice filly, and I really like this filly, and I think we're going to have some fun with her in the near future, but it's going to take baby steps. With our girl. And then My Jazz, I talked to a couple of people last night that, maybe some people had said that, geez, it'd be nice to get her in cheaper, but what you don't understand, it's easy just to say these words, but you don't understand what you're saying. She doesn't fit any classes. She fits a non-winners of 5 and has made $125,000. So she has a lot of money still behind her. After 3 or 4 more starts, not making a little money, we might be able to get her in a little easier. Her class will go in 55 at Northfield, 55 at the Meadows. So there's no easy races for fillies at 3 that have made $120,000 at 2. They just aren't there. So we opted to race her in the Consolation. She's already trotted in 56. Her first start back, by the way. And this idea that she's somehow crippled and lame, it's not the case. And you guys don't understand what she's been through. You don't understand where she is. And she is working her ass off, and so am I. So is Jason and the caretakers to get her comfortable again. That foot separation has really, quite frankly, may have disrupted her entire career. It really devastated her year of 2021. But the ramifications of what went on from that foot problem have really disrupted, as I said, her entire career. So we're left trying to cobble together a schedule for this filly, and it's not easy. There are no more fairs for her. And no, I didn't want to take her to Coshocton and race her at the fair for $5,000 when she could race for $75,000. And further to that point, it kind of frustrates me when people make comments like this after the race. You could have made those comments before the race and said, well, I don't think she should be in there. But if she had to get up and won in 55, a couple made a break, and she weaved her way through and fished her way through and was a winner, everyone's happy. I understand it's human nature and people want to vent. There's nothing wrong with that. Go ahead and vent. There's no problem. But keep in mind, it's not as easy as you think it is. Just to say, we're going to do this, we're going to race her here, and everything's going to be good. You don't know the complexities that go into racing a stable or any one horse, and what we have to go through on a daily, weekly, monthly basis to get that done. It's very, very difficult. And I think a lot of us, including myself, been spoiled this year too, right? We see all the horses racing good, and then when one doesn't, you're like, oh, what happened there? Well, it's racing. Especially when you're racing in stakes company. You never know what you're getting. It's not like I can race her in the non-winners of 2, or I would. And we know the competition of horse that's going to be in the non-winners of 2. When you're talking about those stake races, those consolations, any of those races, the Buckeyes or any of them, it's a mixed bag, and it's tough across the board every time. But racing is tough. So rest assured, My Jazz isn't limping around the burn, in a cast all week and crippled, and then we drag her to the track and race her. No. When I talk about the things she has to overcome, these are things that she can overcome. She's getting better. She's racing as good as she can. She trotted 57 last night. The problem is that those fillies have had 14, 15, 16 starts. My Jazz has had, what, 5? 5 starts? And none of them in consecutive weeks, other than this one right here. You know, you race her and then it's 2 weeks, you race her again, or qualifier, race her again. But we never had race. That is how horses put the proper muscle on to compete at this level. And again, I see people, you know, you see My Jazz raced great last year, so you thought she'd mature and, you know, she would have trotted in 53, but that isn't the case. My Jazz was ready to be the best form of My Jazz last year. She trotted in 57 last year. She trotted in 56 already this year once. She trotted in 57 yesterday. The idea that she somehow would have or could have or is going to be a 53, 54 trotter, that lies in your head, not in reality. And we need to look at that in real terms. My Jazz is a beautiful filly that's going to have, that we're going to continue to have fun with. But yes, she struggled in 2021, and it is not her fault. And she has done exactly what she is, just been a very tough filly, and she's struggled through the year to get to where she is now. But let's see what happens afterwards. So whether it's So and Sue, who's a little crazy with her mouth, and we're working on that, or whether it's, you know, My Jazz, who are trying to get her feet under control and get her ankles under control, we'll get there. But this is racing. We're in the same boat. We're all on the same team. And as I said, if people want to vent, feel free to vent to me. If you want to send me an email and say, that race was a disgrace and I don't believe you did the right thing, that's fine. That's your 2 cents. You can do that. I'm happy to answer those questions. That's why I'm here. That's my job. So, it's 3 calls. You might want to ask Jason what he wants. He just called me. So where are we at now? What about Blue Bayou Dio this week? Blue Bayou Dio raced great in freehold again. Another tough filly. Probably, and I said this to Rob Harmon in the paddock, I said, you know, this of all, we've had a lot of nice horses this year. This is probably the most underrated horse at the stable.ca. This filly's already took a mark of 56-1 last quarter, 26-4 at Kentucky, right? Fast track. She still did it. Not only did she do it, go back and look at the race. First over in the last turn, and just like I love to see, merciless in victory, drove away from the horses and won in 56-1, looked great. And then raced her and she was a little bit sick. Then we raced her barefoot in the final, and she that was a mistake on my part. It rained 10 minutes hard before the race, and just the way she was trotting, she just wasn't comfortable. That's on me. It was my fault. But as I said, if she had not, kidney, oh wow, it's a hardcore sign. If she hadn't have made that break in the final, she most definitely would have likely bled in the final because she was full of mucus. That would have ended her year. So maybe it was a saving grace that she did make a break, because she came back great yesterday or Friday in her race at freehold. For a filly that was as sick as she was, we treated her, sent her all the way out to Rob Harmon. He continued to treat her, trained her up. She couldn't have been anywhere near 100% for Friday's race. And for her to finish second the way she did, and I had her wrapped up, she is sharp as a tack. Rob called me yesterday, said he was standing there with the veterinarian doing her knees. Her knees, the fluid was a little dark. It's not shocking. She never really had any vet work done before. He said her knees were bothering her a little bit. They're all patched up and ready to go for next week's final. I'm going to fly from Lexington to Newark International Airport, where my buddy Vince is going to pick me up. Vince is going to drive me to freehold. We're going to watch the race together. Greg Schoner is coming up from Philadelphia to watch the race. Now, I'm flying out of Philadelphia back to Lexington because that is the only airport and the only flight that will get me back to Lexington before the sale that night. I landed 6:18. My wonderful wife has said that she is now going to pick me up at the airport.
I should make you walk after what you did yesterday.
What did I do to you yesterday? What are you talking about? She got all bent out of shape, so I forgot that she was flying into Cincinnati instead of Dayton. I had to go drive 1-2 skip a few at Coshocton, which was 2 hours in the other direction of Cincinnati. So she lands and she said, how am I going to get to the hotel? I said, honey, just get an Uber. The airport in Dayton is 8 minutes from the hotel. She goes, I'm not in Dayton, I'm in Cincinnati. Remember, you told me to book the flight to Cincinnati. Oh, right. About that. So I told her, what did I tell you? Get a Starbucks, get an Uber, and get to the hotel. You're welcome. You had a problem, you presented me with a problem, and I fixed it. Did I get a thank you? No. I did get a small amount of attitude, but I did not get a thank you. I got back from Coshocton, and you were at the hotel room. Everything worked out good. We had a great night in Dayton. All worked out well. Where are we going here? 2.2 miles. So Blue Bayou Dio, you interrupted me. Blue Bayou Dio was fantastic at Freehold, and I am super excited to race her next week. I can't beat Gertrude if that kid, and he does a good job, the little Tyler kid. Tyler Miller, Julie and Andy Miller's son. Good set of hands on him, that kid. If he draws inside of me, it's over. And if he draws outside of me, it might be over also. But if he does draw outside of me, I'm not going to make things easy on him, I can tell you that. Blue Bayou Dio is coming in sharp. She's coming in tight. And more importantly, she's coming in healthy. So I expect a big race from her. You know, I'm not going to overdrive her and put her in a bad position also to make a break or something. But at the same time, I am excited to give her a shot to win the final in New Jersey. I think we go for $70,000. And from what I can see, I believe I'm second best. If Gertie drives inside of me anywhere, she draws outside of me, we're going to have a horse race at Freehold next week. So, that is Blue Bayou Dio. Tipsy and Dixie raced good the other night. Obviously, if she gets out anywhere, she's a winner. From what I can see down the lane, she looked great. Where are we going here? 0.9. I-75 south. It's in 1 mile. There's traffic jam here. Must be a ball game today. Football? No. What day is today? Football. No, they don't play here today. They played on Thursday. We're in Cincinnati, right?
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah. The Reds aren't playing, I don't think. It's raining anyway. Well, it's traffic jam for something.
They are playing.
Who's playing?
All the ball teams. This is the last day of the regular season.
But with Cincinnati? I guess so. It doesn't matter. They probably are. Do I need to get off? I'm going around this. It's ridiculous. So Tipsy and Dixie raced great. All she had to do was get out around those two horses anywhere down the lane. She's a winner, so I was happy to see that. Harry texted me after, said Sylvain said she was on the line a little bit. Can we get her looked at by the vet before the final? Yes. She's going to Dr. Melissa McKee. Oh, you got to tell them. 4 p.m. tomorrow. I think I told Harry, but in case I didn't, let her know. Tipsy and Dixie, 4 p.m. tomorrow, Melissa McKee. And then Walk on the Moon race good too. Mario got him into a blind switch down the lane, but he kind of needed that, right? He's been beat up a couple of times. And I know that Davey and everybody wanted Walk on the Moon to stay in Ontario, but I am telling you right now, Walk on the Moon is coming to the United States of America immediately after the final of the OSS.
Explain why.
Well, thank you, honey. Because the sledding in Ontario is going to be a little tough for Walk on the Moon. The grassroots, he's a competitor, but he's not a running off winner. I mean, he's not 4 to 5 in a 3-year-old horses that raced in the grassroots race. He's got 60,000 made. This puts him in tough competition, but they go by wins. I'll tell you where he could race, where he'd probably do good. Yonkers. But we'll race him once likely at Northfield or the Meadows and then send him down to Yonkers. I know that Davey and everybody there loves that horse. But listen, we're trying to run something a little bigger than the Walk on the Moon stable. And I think the best place for Walk on the Moon to be is where he's going to do the most damage, where he's going to win the most money and win the most races. And unfortunately, that is not Ontario, Canada presently. All right, you're not going to let me in? No, I'm going to give you the old fake Canadian wave. Hey, thanks for the hold. So that is Walk on the Moon. Now, obviously, I said we're heading to the sale. I started the video somewhat talking about the sale. I'm going to end the video somewhat talking about the sale. It is vitally important that people let me know what you'd like to do with the sale. There are some lots left in the $200,000 partnership that we have built, and also in the $50,000 partnership. Now, I built those two partnerships so that everybody could get in, but it seems like some people aren't getting in just yet, which is fine. But I will caution you. I would say by the time we open up the shares for everybody, there'll be none left. You know, I know what everybody's doing. You know, a lot of our clients are going to descend on Lexington, look at what we're looking at. That's okay. I'm going to bring you all the videos I can bring you over the next 2 days. We're going to buy these horses, and I'm going to let you know which buckets. I guess bucket partnerships doesn't matter. Which partnerships they are going to win, so that everybody can get a look at that. But when they're sold out, and I suspect after day 2, now there's not going to be a lot of day 1 horses end up in the partnerships. Listen, I hope a ton of day 1 horses end up in the partnerships, but there won't be. There'll be mostly day 2 through 5 horses end up in those partnerships, and as we fill them up, I suspect people will buy chunks of them like they did in Ohio, and I do appreciate people doing that. It allows me to maneuver a little bit better. Listen, I will give you one last plea. I would hope that everybody bought them up before the sale. Makes my job a lot easier. But as we go through the week, I'll reach out to people and we'll get those sold out for them. Still lots left in the, by lots, I mean there's lots left, not lots of shit, lots of shares, but there's lots left in the Ontario buckets. We don't have the $30,000 bucket or the $50,000 bucket filled up yet. We do have a couple of shares, I think, left in the $70,000 bucket, but that we already have the horses for there. They're closed. That's Warwi Yuri, who looked awesome all week. Did he look good on the track?
Yeah, he's very good.
He's a sweetheart, that horse. I like him. I guess the only dig is he's a giant. So he's a giant cadabra. Is he going to stay sound and race it too? I don't know. He may be on a similar trajectory of like a 3-point blue chip where we give him a little time and let him grow into his body. But he's got some real good pedigree. Keep in mind, when Cadabra was Cadabra, he was a global, like an international sire that had horses racing all over the world. And you know, when you combine this pedigree with that horse, just because he get up in age certainly doesn't mean that he's not Cadabra anymore. I think he's passed away now.
Yeah.
But the last couple of years, he maybe didn't get the mares that he did in previous years, just because he was older and there was new sires come along. But Cadabra is still Cadabra. This pedigree, this bloodline is still this bloodline. And Warwi Yuri, for the price we got him for, was a slam dunk in my mind. Why is there so much traffic in this place? Look at this. It's bumper to bumper here. 74 miles we're going on this road. Oh, no, it's two different things. They got the traffic stopped. Why do they got it stopped? What's going on here? There are people parked there.
They're working.
Oh. Oh, yeah, you're right. The bridge is completely closed. I see. So Warwi Yuri, there's where the Bengals play.
Yeah,
If you want to go the day
I saw
after.
that when I was on my way from here.
Oh, when you were on your way from the airport in Cincinnati,
I
you saw when the
did.
Bengals play?
I did, yeah.
My wife being a little sarcastic, being a little saucy. We might go there on Sunday if you want.
That bridge?
Actually,
were
Greg?
suspended from that bridge. They were painting it.
Boom.
Yeah.
Boom. Can't do that.
Oh, no, it was this one. It was this one.
Yeah, I can't do that. Not doing that. My man Greg Grismore told me you won't get tickets to the Bengals game. It'll be sold out. So I don't know if the timing is good. Here's my timeline for Sunday when we're supposed to be tired.
We need to drive partly back on Saturday.
So I got to tell you, our timeline's going to be tough. My timeline will consist on watching the Bengals game, then going back to Northfield Park to race, and then driving. We're not getting home till 2 o'clock Monday morning.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. You wanted a good vacation. I'm going to get you as much as I can. I'm going to ram everything into this vacation for you. We're going to go towards Kentucky. So, potentially Bengals game next Sunday at 1 o'clock. They play Green Bay, I believe. We'll be able to see Aaron Rodgers' mullet flapping in the wind. He needs to shave and cut his hair. It's disgusting. Aaron Rodgers, if you're watching this, man, get out of here. Come on. This mullet crap. He's always wearing a hat, so you know he's going bald on top. Who cares? It's not the end of the world. Yeah. I'm wearing a hat, but I'm not going bald. I'm not going bald. I don't know. I don't care. I just shaved it if I was. No comment why. My wife asked me. She said she didn't know why I still color my hair. Obviously, everybody knows by now. I'm as gray as I can be underneath. But I color my hair all the time. I have for well over a decade. And I might for another decade. I don't... 2 decades? No, 2 decades. There's 25, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I don't think there's 24. It's just silly. But it's just the way it is. I put nice clothes on, I wear nice shoes. I'll get my hair colored and get colored. It's the way it is. Who cares? But, Aaron Rodgers got a mullet. So we can watch Aaron mullet. We can watch the Bengals play next Sunday if you want. And then I'll ask them to put our horses in late at Northfield.
I'm sure the caretakers would think
They don't like when I do that.
no.
Sometimes I don't tell them. They're like, we're in like the 11th and 12th. I'm like, how did that happen? Meanwhile, I've called the race office and asked them to put the horses in late, so we can maybe get them in late on Sunday, and then drive 3 horses back to Ontario late.
Unload them.
Yeah, it doesn't take long. It's very simple. Well, it'll be a long day for us, but fun. You see all the fun I've jammed in? See all the fun that I've jammed into that Sunday? You're welcome. You are welcome. So, yes, so we're heading to the sale. We're looking at horses. Well, honey, we're an hour. We're an hour from Kentucky. Why don't you look on your app? You have a weather app. We have the ability to look up the weather in Kentucky. She's worried because it's pouring rain. It's going to be very difficult to view horses in the pouring rain. In fact, there's probably a lot of places won't allow us to. So that's really going to hamper looking at horses today. There's a number of horses on day one I want to look at. I have to make that video. But as I make that video, I'm going to have some other horses out also that I'm going to show you what I'm looking at. Keep in mind, I have well over 100 horses that I am looking at. So, but how much rain until then? Like sprinklings or pouring rain? Your app sucks. I'll have to look on my phone.
It says 90% at 1 o'clock.
Yeah, but how much? How much?
I don't know.
No, you don't have to use your phone. Okay.
0.5 centimeters.
Centimeters is usually snow, honey. It's ridiculous. So if it's not raining too hard, we're going to look at some babies here in a little while in Kentucky. So, on our way there now. I hope you guys have had a good week. Last night, sure, it would have been nice if we were 1-1-2, but we were 1-5-7. My Jazz will make a rebound. We'll probably race her at Northfield or at the Meadows in the near future. So and Sue will race at Northfield Park very soon also. Very happy with her. And I think we'll have lots of fun with her in the near future. But settled for 5th last night. And for Aurora, I guess we'll take that track record and that win in the Sire State Consolation. She now has, I would suspect she'll be one of the big favorites heading into the Buckeye Final, which goes for $60,000, and Skippy will join her there. So worst case scenario, we have 2 racing on October the 16th. We also have I'm a Lovely Lady on October the 16th. And if we're lucky, if we're super lucky, we're sitting 11th and 12th with So and Sue and Mama Knows Best. Mama's in 11th, Sue is in 12th, or 12th and 13th, I'm not sure. There's only 8 on the gate, so a lot would have to go our way to get those horses in the final. But nevertheless, there's lots of racing for our girls coming up. So that's a long opening video, interrupted a couple of times with Amy. Then she was complaining about having to go to Cincinnati, then Dayton. But it's all good now. As we head towards the biggest week of the year on the harness racing calendar overall, the Kentucky Select Sale. Talk to you all very soon. Take care.